Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Geotechnical Engineering Podcast. In this episode, I'll be talking with Dr. Andrew Leung, President and Managing Principal at U & Associates. We're going to talk about his career journey. We're going to talk about his management style. We're going to talk about innovation within geotechnical and environmental engineering, and so much more. I'm your host, Jared Green, and I'm excited to be bringing you another episode of the Geotechnical Engineering Podcast. But with that, let's dive right into today's episode. All right, welcome to the show, Andrew. How are you doing?
Great. I just
Excellent.
did a direct import, and I just come back to the state.
Okay.
I was in Asia for a couple of weeks.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate you coming back just for the show. I'm sure if we weren't doing this, you wouldn't have come back, right? No, that's good. I hope you had a good time. I hope you're refreshed, and I hope you had a great experience.
Yes. This is for a family visit, so my family is still out in Hong Kong. That's where.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. All right. Well, it would be great if you could set the stage for us here, for our listeners and those that are watching. Share a little bit about your background and think back. Why did you want to get into geotechnical and environmental engineering? Tell us. And I say tell us because I know you're such a great storyteller. So I'm excited to hear your response.
You kidding me? You put me on the
put you on the spot.
In the box right here.
Yeah.
Well, very plain simple. I'm originally from Hong Kong, and I left Hong Kong at 16 years old. Now, at that time, to tell you a little bit of background, I came in from a school that is a Chinese school. And we can speak Chinese very well, read Chinese very well, but English is very difficult at the beginning. After I did my high school, and my parents felt that, well, this is a kid that not so smart, and for him to get to a university in Hong Kong may be tough. So say, well, why don't I put this kid to someplace else and let him learn English and do something else. So at 16, I was let go to London, UK. Now, I have 2 bags and I have rice cooker too at the time. I went to London, okay. And I went to the school and have the notice board and say, well, there's a tag there. Is it someone renting a single room? I pull a tag down and then buy myself an A to Z. And then walk over there and ask the landlady, you have a room for rent? I said, yeah, it cost me £8 per week. So that's how I got settled down. Now, at 16, at the time, I didn't know what I'm going into. And at the first week, it didn't hit me. The second week, I said, wow, I want to go home. That is not exactly what I anticipated. So I wrote a lot of snail mail back home. And after 3 months, I get a conversation and called my father. And he said, I make mistakes. I'm sorry. I sent you out too early. Now, should you want to come back and restart next year, it's okay. And I say, no. I met so many people in the factory in school. And I get along with many people help me out. I get adapted to. Wow. So at the time, I was living in Acton, in the west side of London. They're filled with a lot of people from South Asia, from Indonesia, Malaysia, and many other places. So I get along well. And that's how I started. Wow. Now, at the get-go was difficult, but right after that, I focused on studying most of the time. And throughout the time when I did my schooling in London, my high school did okay, and I get along, and I managed to all my college career. I did not get any B's.
Okay.
Now, that's bad. I can tell you why it's bad.
Why is it bad?
I was critical to myself. I
Mm.
want to earn everything that I can have in school, including my first degree. So at one time I say, well, there are 3 prizes at the end of the 3-year career in London, and I want to get them 3. Okay. Usually that would get distributed to 3 individuals.
Yeah.
And I did broke my record. I got 2.
Wow.
But inside my thinking is bad though. And I was keep on having these challenges. I want to get them all. I want to get them all. And I was challenged, but I have a lot of good friends though. Okay, I only challenged myself. I didn't look at to compete with others, and I want to do the best. But however, in parallel, it developed a very different thinking that I want to get all that too much. Then and I do have a kind of loss of not always want to get the best. Okay, including when I first went to UIUC, and after I graduate, I get an opportunity to be an exchange scholar from London to UIUC, and my first step I got into Professor Mercery, and he said, "Well, why you want to be a geotechnical engineer?" I say, "Well, because that is one of the 2 favorite subjects that I like." Geotechnical and traffic engineering, but I'd select geotechnical engineering. And say, well, what do you want to do in UIUC? Well, I want to finish my master in 1 year, and I want to finish my PhD in 3 years. All right. You know what you're getting into? It took Professor Pack 5 years to finish his PhD. You think you get better than Professor Pack? That was a smack in the face.
Yeah.
And the first hourly exams I got for Professor Mercery, I got 82 out of 100. And he immediately walked over to me and say, "Andrew, what do you get?" I said, 82. "Oh, that's a B. That's a solid B." Not A though. and then he looked at my curriculum. I say, I took tennis lessons. I took swimming lessons.
Yeah.
And the first week I got to Illinois, I bought a car.
Wow.
That's bad.
Living a life.
No, well, I tell you, that is, I was in cloud 9.
Yeah.
I thought that I have the best. I was very good. No. N-O, no. And I'm glad that Professor Cording took me on like a little kid. Okay. Yeah. He bring me out to many site visits, and I saw how he work. And I owe him a lot. Yeah. And there are other stories that I can tell you about Professor Cording, how he did it to me too. But the lessons after that 7 years, and when I first start work, and we were client consultant, it was one of the best offers I have in Houston. After 1 year, oil embargo come, 1982 at the end of 82. Oil price from $10 to $40 or 38 rather, and down to 10. The company go into 60% layoff. And I was one of them. Now, despite all that, the next day I called up another firm that I interviewed, and they said, the job is still for you after about a year, and I give you a raise too. That was Joseph Ward and Associate in New Jersey at the time. I took on that job, and I start thinking about what's wrong with me. I find out the reason. I was not concentrate on learning. You're in cloud 9, you thought you're the best. That's the first failure you had to receive. And it was devastating to me. Yeah. And I do not mind to tell my staff about it too. When you're in cloud 9, you thought you're so comfortable, be careful. Wow. And I start doing a habit of, I start to work at 8:30. At 4:30, before the half an hour end of the work, and I always ask my advisor what things I can do for them tomorrow. And to give me assignments, I always complete at night. The next day, the advisor sees what I did. He didn't say a word. And I keep on doing it for 3 months. There were words in the office. Andrew is nuts. Andrew is workaholic. Andrew is work for free. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I keep on going. And then my advisor sent me to classes, then sent me to seminar. And together we wrote 2 papers in landfill engineering.
Wow.
Right in the first year. And I was enjoying the time. And he taught me one-on-one many shortcuts in geotechnical engineering, slope stability, among other things. So that's how I got into my first failure in my career. But through that, I'm glad that it was at the beginning of my career. I did not stay on cloud 9.
Wow.
Okay. And it was in hindsight, and look back, I say that is the best things that I ever done to me. That's why I carry a habit. In terms of a lot of time on hiring, I would carry a principle: the A's will hire the A's and the B will hire the C's. But I do not hire 4.0. Because I only hire 4.0 with experience of failure. Yeah. Now that's what happened in geotechnical engineering. Geotechnical engineering is about case study, about failure, about what things you can learn, what's the lessons learned. I got my first lesson learned. Wow. When I was 22 years old. Wow. And it was, you like it or not, yeah. It was tough at the time. Yeah. But at least I felt that I fell fast and fell forward. Yeah. I would not take me down. And I keep on going with my career. And that was, in fact, it was I would say that is the biggest lessons I learned. Wow. And then I keep on going with it and keep on changing the style or the way that I work. And the first, I would say the first 7 years about my transformations from high school into getting into the right training and to be a geotechnical engineer. And then after 7 years of practice as a geotechnical engineer, and I went to a seminar, and it was a landfill engineering seminar in Lehigh. And I met some principal TAMs and say, well, would you like to try out environmental engineering? I say, well, I never done it before. But I see when you ask questions about landfill engineering, I think you can try it. And say, okay, all right, I'll try it. So I get into environmental engineering at the time. So my first 7 years in geotechnical, second 7 years in environmental, and my third 7 years was probably at the time, my management skill was bad. So my advisor say, well, why don't you go and get some management training? So I got into the Exact 21 class organized by Paulie and learned from many great leaders. At the time, most of the retired CEO taught in that class, like Henry Michel, Edward Mule at Turner, and that I received a lot from them. So that's how I evolved into management too. So in terms of geotechnical engineering, I love geotechnical engineering and lay out the foundation. There's a lot of parallel between geotechnical engineering and in management. It's about change, about anticipating change. When people ask you when you can finish up the hole, I say, I don't know. I'll tell you when I get there. I don't know what I have. Okay, I mean, I'll tell you when I get there. Okay, now that's about the difference between geotechnical and environmental. Environmental is a lot more about preparations, planning, regulatory. Okay, geotechnical is about anticipate a change. If something changed to you, okay, take it well, and respond to it. So I enjoy every single second's about practice as a geotechnical engineer.
I love it. I love it. There's honestly, if there's somebody listening that does not know about geotech or doesn't want to be a geotech after hearing you speak, it's like, you know what? I need to give that a shot. Man, no, it's great. It's great to just hear the evolution of like, I don't know what I want to do to knowing what I want to do. And just this concept of failure and what to do with failure. And I think you're right that if you've never experienced failure or hardship, the first time you experience it, it could be right, overwhelming. And you don't want to be a part of that. So
absolutely,
we should not be afraid of failure. We should not be afraid of it. And
exactly.
in some senses, we should be able to embrace it and learn from it, or as they say, fail fast, right?
And have a good resiliency of it.
Mm-hmm.
After you have the failure, you start changing the way that you deal with things and get another step up. And that's how it should be. If you, after you fail the second time the same way, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're not learning.
It's a resiliency on it. Okay, so you had to make sure it's a transformative resiliency that you transform to another way of handling it. So
for sure,
that part is very important.
For sure. Well, let's see. So, as the president and managing principal of You and Associates, talk a little bit about your management style, and also how has that contributed to your firm's success?
Well, I wouldn't. I would call it it's day to day. Our environment is also changing, and I think when you ask about my leadership style, I mean we all carry certain part of our intrinsic training, and a lot of time I talk to my staff about you can divide the 3 part of training in your life until you're 21. The first 7 years about you grow physically, your parents give you food and you go bigger. The second 7 years is you learn from your parents, how they act, how they respond, and that also consider training on your emotional intelligence. It's about your EQ. And the 14 to 21, you're getting into IQ. Learn from school, learn from the mathematics, the basics, and get professional training to do the things that you would like to do. Now, after that, everything that we use what you learned, okay, in all the three generations, 7 years. If you ask me what is my management style, it depends on the circumstances. Okay, I could be. I mean, I carry a number of style, but it could be coaching, could be a democratic style. It could be time that when let's say if I don't have the time to explain, then it could be a pace setting style. Okay, and also could be democratic style. I mean, I usually would put a story to my staff about a tree story. A tree story is go like this: is you can go. Let the people go from A to B, okay? From that of original A to go to B. You can tell the people, go. Don't ask any questions. Just go and move on quick. It's a pace setting style. It's a way that it's authoritarian, okay? You can also say, people, pick up everything. Your luggage, the ground is wet, be careful, and walk slowly and go from A to B. It's a little bit of micromanaging. You teach them what to do, and you can also say to people, we gotta go from A to B. It's about to rain. We don't want to get wet. Now at B, we have an apple tree there. We can sit down in the apple tree and have apples there too. Okay, so it would be a bit more persuasive in getting people to get to there. So I use all styles, but intrinsically it boiled down to my breaks. Okay, my own what things that you naturally at, and the area that I do not do well probably would be the coercive style of pushing on, and that's something that I felt that people would naturally move forward, would be the very natural way. Okay, so that's would be my style. Whether it's a success or not, it depends on how you define it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do enjoy all my staff, working with all my staff. Day to day, see them have a happy face of what they do, enjoy what they do. Okay, and that told me a lot that about will carry through a lot of journey that way. And that's how my career worked too. I remember my mentor say, Andrew, go home. Don't hang around here. This place is no good for you. Get out. And he is very much for me. I mean, you know that I was there in the office for a little bit. So, it depends. It really is there's no one size fit all.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It's so much of it ties back to the situation you're in, how much time you have, who you're in front of, how much experience they have. And so as a leader, you have to be able to kind of know the room and be able to adjust as needed. But I think that the tree story is a great way to depict it, right? So thank you for that. That is great. Now, when you think about your firm, I mean, I understand you are a leading firm in geotech, environmental, site, civil. What are some of the things about your culture, your firm's culture and values that have been helpful for the organization, and how have you been a part of making sure that culture stays what it needs to be or evolves as it needs to evolve?
That kind of bring me into a little bit about the history of the firm that I was involved in.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that in speaking about that, I'd be initially it's geotechnical engineer and environmental engineering, and they say my management skills no good, and they send me to school. So that occurred at the 14 years after I've been with Thames. Mm-hmm. And at that time, there's a class. It's about leadership and management. Mm-hmm. And that class impacted me the most. That it would be a lot of self-reflection about who you are and what you want to do. And during that class, I went through a lot of thinking about what made to be who I am now and what I want to go forward. And I said to myself, I would like to form in organizations that move like an amoeba, but also have a very much a collaborative culture, and each one helping each other to move forward. And I hope that I don't, well, at the time, amoeba is a transformative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I want to move, I would have the intelligence move like amoeba. Engineering is something that we have the intelligence, we can be the best of what we can be. So I want to design a culture that the people with an attitude of we are partners, we work like a partnering, and then also we will help each other out, and we'll have mutual respect and caring. Okay, and the relationship appreciations and appreciative, and then with high integrity within the group, and also do the best what we can do and have the best understanding of our client. And that's something that we also work on it too. And in contrary, in some, as I see that human nature have so much differences. There are people that are extremely competitive, that people want to either I can kill you or you be killed. That's something that I try to avoid.
Yeah.
And it's important to know that each of us, geotechnical engineering is so wide. There's a lot of things in it. There are earth pressure, slope stability, bearing capacity, instrumentation, seismics. You name it. And there's one area you could be very good in one area, but you can learn other part from another person's. And that's what sharing is. If we can share all the knowledge, we'll be moving like amoeba.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good in certain area. You asked me to sit down, and at the time it was Hendren, Professor Hendren. He said, I can do this slope stability in 15 minutes and give you a factor safety. At the time, he's not really, he was asking about the deflection of the ship power.
Okay.
He was doing in front of the judge. Okay. And he did it in front of the judge. In 15 minutes, he gave an approximate deflections of the ship power.
Okay.
And I can also tell you that I can do factor safety for substability in 15 minutes. And that's what area I do that I'm still good at. Okay. And but I will respect other area that I would learn from it too.
I love it.
So there's unlimited challenge. Now today we talk about AI and how AI being applied in geotechnical engineering. One had to admit, geotechnical engineering is the most sophisticated area in adopting using computer making judgment, but it can be done. Okay, so this subject has been talked about in MIT for many years already. So and the fact that we use many empirical correlations and modeling among such is part of the AI that we want to. So we are good.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. And we're familiar with this. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Right.
We should be very proud of our career and professions.
You're right.
And I do remember at one time in Hong Kong, that's in Hong Kong, financial market have a very high demand on people. Skill set. They went to civil engineering department in Hong Kong University to hire. That was JP Morgan. Because engineer know how to model. Engineer know modeling. Good in mathematics. The major things between an economist and an engineer is economist doesn't have a factor safety. And engineer always design with a factor safety.
You're right.
So there's a different understanding. So you see in the financial market, there's no factor safety. That means if you fail, you fail.
Yeah. No cushion, no margin, right? It's like...
And at least we can call it, okay, our factor safety is 1.5 for this slope.
Yeah.
Okay. So within that, we'll be okay.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. So let's stay with that for a moment. So when you think about geotechnical and environmental engineering, we work on very complex projects. What are some of the insights into the challenges and innovations in our fields? You could do geotech or environmental. Let's focus on geotech, actually. What are some of the innovations? You hinted at AI and machine learning. What are some of the innovations you're seeing?
Well, first of all, I had to say geotechnical engineering is a little more complex compared to other engineering. And it talk about the feeling, the thinking, and also the changes. And for people who study geotechnical engineering, they should be a little bit more adapted to change. And also would love to do things differently. Okay, because if you ask me, okay, you have this loading and you have this soil, there are a number of methods that you can analyze settlements too. Okay, there's you can compare different way of looking at stress, different looking at the Bosniak or using Sperman or all kind of things. Okay, in terms of innovations, it's about what things upcoming to us. I was involved in talking to people on getting some information in Hong Kong or in other part of Asia about AI. And it's quite interesting that the application of AI to allow us to predict, let's say, I'll give you an example, hurricane coming. And if all my slope is being monitored with all the instrumentations, and I can tell you, should that place will require evacuation based on the size of the storm coming in. Okay, I would predict that X amount of storm surge is coming in, and do I need evacuations based on the predictions that I have many slope for instance, in Hong Kong, there are many buildings are constructed on slope, right right next to a marginal safety slope in the old days. Okay, but now, of course, in today's they're using many different way to monitor the slope and deliver good predictions and limit amount of failure associated with it. Yeah. So I say there is unlimited future, but I do not. I think for AI to take over geotechnical engineer judgment, it's still have some time to go. Okay, so that will be some future about geotechnical engineering, that there will be some portion of it adopted in AI, okay? And it will be efficient, quick answer, but there are other judgment, and it depends on what problem that you are tackling.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's innovation is something that we should not be afraid of. And like you say, as geotechs, we should embrace that. We should be okay with change. And you raise a really good point. We start thinking about engineering judgment. Engineering judgment is something that you can't really model, right? It's something that really comes from experience. So
one of my favorite questions, a lot of time I talk to the younger generations, and I do several things, including the music they enjoy. They would have played instruments. Music is, in fact, is a form of innovations, an art form. Painting, music's creativity, innovative thinking. Okay, that's all among that is also embedded in part of the geotechnical engineering training too. Okay, there's no one size fit all. There's no one solution. There's always another one.
Yeah.
And I remember I got quite a bit of influence with British music.
Okay. And
I remember one of the key band, probably a lot of people know about it too, is Led Zeppelin's.
Okay.
As they compose Kashmir, okay, they put Kashmir in a different style. They in 1972, they already invited a conductor from Saudi Arabia.
Interesting.
And a musician from India using sitar.
Wow.
Okay, to mix in their productions. Now that's called innovations.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And recently, about 5 years ago, when Jimmy Page asked Robert Plant about, can we come back to the band and reproduce? And Robert Plant said, I have nothing new to offer.
Wow.
It says a lot about the artist, okay, about the innovation. I enjoy music, including.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So I switch gears a little bit. I love it. I've heard so many people talk about just the notion of music and it's tied to mathematics and also tied to creativity. And I like your spin on it, the tie to innovation. The tie to innovation.
Yes.
Let's talk about something else that's very interesting to, or very important for engineers, especially licensed professional engineers. And you being a licensed professional engineer for the several states. Let's talk about ethics a little bit. When we think about engineering and we think about engineering ethics, what are some of the, let's call them significant responsibilities and ethical considerations that a professional engineer has to think about? Because we have people that tune into the show that are seasoned engineers, decades of experience, but we also have some that are not a PE yet, and we want to make sure they're hearing this, and then those that have just become PEs. So what are some of those considerations that they need to be thinking about?
It's one of the very key areas. I mean, when I can tell you from the get-go, I always call it my career is a three-part in it. and I call it balanced scorecard. Right at the beginning, I focus on the discipline, the engineering, the fundamental. And then after that, then I focus on project management. And then later on, I focus on how to form a group and do business and marketing and all that. Throughout the entire journey, integrity is the most important part.
Wow.
And as you go deeper in it, when you go into managing your business, managing your profession, it had to carry a good deal of professionalism in it and the integrity. That's the most important thing. You don't want to, you want it to say what you believe in, and with the understanding that there are many people's lives is on your shoulder.
Yes.
Okay, now that's the part that civil engineer had to carry. Okay, I throughout the journey, I mean that when I call it that balanced scorecard I had to give this credit to many great leaders that can tolerate me all this and did not give up on me. And there are three people that I respect. The first one is the one who taught me about engineering right at the beginning. The second one is taught me about management. And the third one he's not an engineer, but I respect him a lot. And there are many life learning lessons that I got from him. That also, when these life learning lessons is the key part of it, is about our integrity. Okay. If I say to Jared, I do not trust you.
Wow.
Will I come into this interview?
Probably
There's no conversation.
None. There's nothing to talk about. Yeah.
There's no respect. There's no conversations.
Yeah.
Right. So the integrity, the trusting part is the key.
Yeah.
To create their respect and then communications. Yeah. And there are three components. Okay. If we lost our integrity, we don't have integrity. I'm sure, Jared, you would not like to talk to me.
Right.
You will go away.
Yeah.
And there's no one-on-one contact on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why the key here is do not sell short on your integrity. Don't ever do anything with it. Do the right things, get it done right.
Wow. Wow. Well, that's great counsel. And the thing that's so amazing about it is that, there's no money associated with integrity, right? You don't have to go to school to get integrity. You can't, so you have it or you don't have it. Wow.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I can call it, myself, there are many things that I did when I was little, okay? In hindsight, looking back, I don't like it. For instance, that clown eye behavior, I do not like it. Now, I mean, it's not about integrity yet, okay? But there are many things that in hindsight, now well, you didn't ask me how old I am, but I'm very old. but these things that are very, very important. Yeah. Your journey. But I would say, even for my staff, when they're young, I would give them higher tolerance because they are still young. They need to learn. But they mature, they will learn. But for the staff who's close to my age, it's very difficult. But I mean, these are difficult to change them.
Yeah.
But I would give smaller tolerance, okay? Because they should know. They've been there, okay? So if there's any violation of integrity, those are the ones that I would be putting accountable for.
There you go. Wow. Well, before we take our break, I want to ask you one more question. You have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, and a lot of it you shared. So thank you for that. What's a piece of advice you would give to a young professional that's just starting a career? So we had advice for people that are thinking about going into engineering, thinking about going to geotech. We had advice for somebody that just got the PE, but somebody that's just starting, they just got the undergraduate degree or just got the master's. What's some advice you would give them if they want to make they want to make a positive impact on the field of geotechnical engineering, what's some advice you give them when they're starting out?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's difficult. We're living in a changing world. Okay. The way that when I got trained, demographic is very different. Okay. And I may not be able to apply what I believe in, but to advise the young generations. But I can quote you something from someone that I respect very much. Now, I always ask some of my staff very unfortunate that the individual passed away 2 weeks ago. And his name is Byron Nguyen. I don't know if you heard his name before. He was quite influential in the capital market. In there, I can quote the statements that he made. He said, I can read directly, I have it on the screen here. When seeking a career as you come up from school or making a job change, always take the job that looks like it will be the most enjoyable. If it pays the most, you're lucky. If it doesn't, take it anyway. Byron, he took a severe pay cut to accept each of the 2 best offers he ever had. And both of them turned out to be exceptionally rewarding financially in his career. Okay. He passed away at 90 years old.
Wow.
Okay. But in there, I think I can't remember the number. I think it's 2013. Right before he walked into a seminar, he been asked by some people, say, Byron, there are many people who respect you. Why don't you put down some career learning lessons? And he did. And he put down 20 lessons that he learned. And I came across it about 5 years ago. I say, I blew it. I wish that I see that 20 lessons many years ago. Okay. Now, in one lessons I would like to share with you.
Go for it.
Okay. They say, younger people are naturally insecure and tends to overplay their accomplishments. Now, most people don't become comfortable with who they are until they are at 40s. Now, by that time, they can underplay their achievement and become a nicer and more likable person. Now, try to do it at that point as soon as possible, and be humble to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I was one of them.
Wow.
Remember the story I told. Being cocky, is devastating.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. I say, well, that's exactly, I'm seeing that is a mirror.
Yeah.
That's exactly who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that failure occurred early on in my career.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, that's 20 lessons learned. I always ask my staff, read it loud.
Yeah.
Okay? Always remember, these are the things that you should know as an engineer.
Yeah.
With high integrity, and also how to fill in your career and thinking. And he enjoys work. He passed away, unfortunately, at 90 years old.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to get those 20 lessons so we can include that in the show notes, because I'm sure I'm going to want to read them. I want to see the other 19. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, many great words.
Yeah. Well, this is good. All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back in just a minute and close this one out with Dr. Luing in our Career Factor Safety End segment. All right, welcome back. It's time for our Career Factor Safety End segment. In geotechnical engineering, just like many disciplines of engineering, it's important to incorporate a factor of safety into your design. But what about incorporating a factor of safety into your career? Today, of course, we're speaking with Dr. Andrew Leung of Yu and Associates. Now, Andrew, you already had a very successful career. Now, when you look back at your career, what's something that you've implemented in your career to give yourself let's call it a factor of safety in your career?
My career is filled with fun things. And in fact, I fell before. So my factor of safety is less than 1.
Yeah.
But I can also share with you a story that I went through from 0.99 to
Okay.
1.8.
Okay. Go for it.
There was a time now I try to pull back the memory. I believe it's 1998 or 1999, and I started off as a geotechnical engineer, and then environmental engineer, and then I become a project manager managing a landfill closure project for local state in New Jersey, and it was a career challenge that I never managed a project that at about a good size of design fees in it, and I was exciting about it. But one thing that the project manager from the DOT was asking, you had to complete the design by a certain time, and it was right at the get-go. Is the summertime? He said, well, you had to do the topographic survey for this landfill. I say, it's in the summer, so you fly over, you're measuring the height of vegetation, aren't you? When you fly over, the whole ground is covered with vegetations. You're all measuring the top of the trees, right?
Yeah.
So, and we've quickly figured out a method on the proposal. Say, well, you got to you are the surveyor to, after you fly over, you bring that point back to the ground by hand surveying so that you can do the correction. That's the only way that we can shortcut and meet the schedule of the project. So I did that. And 2 weeks away from delivery of the entire hydrology design, and the groundwater, the surface water flow, and all that structures and things that we did the full design. The hydrologist asked me a question, say, why these topo are having a couple of feet over the ground that surveyor delivered to us? Something wrong. I say, the surveyor forget to do the corrections. So it was about a week to Christmas. And I say, well, I say, how much delay that we can have? We will have, we had to do a complete redesign on stormwater drainage. Well, roughly about 4 weeks. So that means I will have at least 3 weeks delay in my submissions. So it's on Friday. I call the DOT manager and say, I think the problem we have here is we have a problem with delivery date here. The project manager jumped. And so the factor of safety coming down now. He say, well, I trust on your firm and you to deliver this project in 3 weeks to me. Now you're telling me not. I'm not sure that you're on top of it. And your sub did the problem is your responsibility too. You know that. Don't say that you sub did it. Yes, that's true. We forgot to look over it. So on that day, and it was 2 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, I got another phone call from the CEO. So you know what? I received a call from the manager. What's wrong with that project, by the way? He asking me to remove you. Oh, now it's 0.99 now. Right? I say, uh-oh. And then from that point, at 3 o'clock, everything turned flat. Wow. That night, I can't. It was one of the most difficult moments at that night. I say, okay, I gotta sleep that night. Next morning, I get back to the office. I say, I had to do something. So on my way coming into the office, on that year was Ford have a problem on the Explorer. And the CEO testified in Congress. And on the way driving in, I heard this interview from the CEO of Ford. And they say, well, because of this, and our organization is come up with a corrective action plan with Goodyear to look at what things that we can do to avoid different type rollout. The word CAP come to my mind. Corrective action plan. I say, what things how I can correct? So on the Saturday morning, I have my first cup of coffee. From that point, I lay out point by point, every single day for the next 3 weeks, what things we're going to do to get the project back on schedule. Okay, one by one, it's like bottom up.
Yeah.
Every day we do something about it. The fast forward, at the end, we deliver the project 2 weeks ahead of our, basically is
yeah.
The situation, it was a little bit awkward, but because we are very careful about the QA/QC, we even got it a week earlier than what we originally thought it is. Wow. And we got the NJDEP approval.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Now, at that time, the project manager sent an email back to me. He said, Andrew, I underestimate you. You rebounded back very well. Thank you very much that the department owed you thanks to complete this project on time and schedule.
Wow.
Now, the factor safety at 1.1 right now. I felt good. Now, after I got that email, see that cloud 9 come back again. Oh, I did it. In about 15 minutes, my conscience kicked in and say, Andrew, you did not do it yourself. All the staff are putting a lot of midnight oil to burn the candle for you.
Yep.
So at the 20 minutes, I sent back an email to him. I say, John, thank you very much for the good work, the kind words. But in fact, there are 6 staff who work side by side with me for the past 2 weeks. Some of them didn't even go home at night. Wow. To complete the schedule, to meet the schedule here. And I think they know they owe, we owe them a acknowledgement. And I want to give you the name and the participant, and please CC the email to them. Yeah. And John said, yes, for sure. Now this time he sent to all the 6 staff and also to the CEO of the firm. Nice. And I say, good, thanks. Now I can have dinner. But on that time after dinner, that's a factor safety 1.5, right? Yeah. And after dinner, for that entire night, I have total about 30 email, IM, phone call. They say, Andrew, I saw the email that John gave about the project, and I do not mind to burn midnight oil at all. I would love to be on your next project. Wow. Wow. Now that's at the time is 1.79. Yeah, for real. Then I know that they're all motivated. Yeah. One of my career important point is give the credit where credit is due. Yes. One person can only do very little. Yeah. Okay. A group can do many different things all together. Okay. So it's my factor say 0.99 to 1.8. Okay. Yeah. This is great. This is great. Andrew, you have, as I knew that you would, you've done just a fantastic job of sharing with us so many great insights, so many good lessons, so much great information, and so much good advice for those that are watching, those that are listening. So thank you. If somebody wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach you? Are you on social media, or you want to share your email address so we can put that in the show notes? Yeah, my email address is aleung@yu-associates.com. Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming on. This is great. Thank you for the time. All right.
I hope you enjoyed the episode today. We would love to hear your feedback, comments, and or questions. Please feel free to go to geotechnicalengineeringpodcast.com, where you'll find a summary of the key points discussed in today's episode, as well as links to the resources, websites, or books mentioned during this episode. Until next time, we wish you the very best in all of your geotechnical engineering endeavors. Peace.